Knowledge without understanding is meaningless. If you're currently feeling a little confused on how to run your business, then this video is for you. In this video, we're going to talk about this year's Nobel Prize winner for economics and why that's important today, because it reflects how all of us should be running our businesses or how we should be working as managers in our businesses. And before we get into it, hello, my name is Serena. I am a business scaling strategist. I help business owners make their companies sellable by growing their valuation. And if you're interested about that, there's some links below. If not, let's continue with the video. So the winner of this year's Nobel Prize in Economics 2025, there are three people: Joel Mokyr, Philippe Aghion, and Peter Howitt. They won for have explained innovation-driven economic growth. People say that it was undeserved and it was a sham. I wouldn't say it's a sham. I would say it is needed, especially today. Let me explain why. So they have found a simple formula that determines economic growth, and it's simple. It's innovation and how often it takes place. And it's a multiplier. So you say innovation times with how often it happens equals economic growth. They say this for two reasons. One of the reasons is when innovations occur in a free market, that's when competition also occurs. So if I'm a business owner and I bring a certain innovation that I manage to then translate into something for the consumer, then that means I suddenly have clients for that. And my competition, they don't have that innovation because I know how it's done. I have the patents for that, and we'll get to that later. And so my competition has to figure out some other way in which they can out-business me. And they're driven to innovation as well. And then they do that. And they get my customers because they have a better product. And so I have to do that. And the more often we do that, the more desirable our products are for the customer. And so money exchange keeps happening more and more often. And that's what drives economic growth. I've mentioned patents. Like traditionally, if you invent something, you make a patent for it and it's yours, and you have the right to sell the patent entirely or just the usage right for your invention. And so that's a major incentive. The patent system is a major incentive for people to invent things because patents give profit and profit gives incentive for more innovation to occur. Innovation, of course, also means creative destruction. For example, the death of Nokia. They were phased out because they couldn't be innovative enough from those really ugly but really robust mobile phones. They could not make a transition to offer a better value proposition to the customers, like a better one than Apple would or Samsung would. So creative destruction also implies that people lose jobs because Nokia doesn't need employees anymore. The thing is, if there is no competitive market, then there is no innovation. Nowadays, we see if a really big company like Apple, then there's like a startup that has invented something that Apple does not have. That new tech could threaten the competitive lead that Apple has. And so they just buy out that company entirely, or they do a merger, effectively eliminating any type of competition through the process of mergers and acquisitions. Destroying competition is a key factor in value creation. However, economics is first and foremost a social science. We study people and the relationships between people. Because of AI, organizational structures are switching from a pyramid structure to a diamond-shaped structure with fewer workers and way more managers. And that's okay. The author Jeremy Rifkin, in the book The End of Work from 1972 or something, said that this will happen, that workers would be phased out because of technological innovations. And so what happens? Like, what do we do for work then? Well, we manage. We manage the technology, or we manage the outsourcing. Machines do the work for us, so all we have to do is manage. The science fiction author Isaac Asimov also showed us that in Naked Sun. That planet with like only 10,000 people on it and an infinite supply of robots for each. People were chilling and robots would do everything, including actually build entire buildings just for visitors. In the Naked Sun, people were also not physically interacting because of threat of disease. So how are people gonna get new ideas if they don't interact with each other? That's the fundamental idea of universities. In Isaac Asimov's scenario, there are no new ideas because even if there would be, they would not be profitable. Why? I mentioned patents give profits, which in turn give incentive. I don't know if you noticed, but AI intellectual property use is actually granted to us. Ironically, these innovations hinder the actual innovations needed for economic growth. The innovation that the Nobel Prize winning guys said must happen often in order for it to result in economic growth slowly disappears. So we're fighting over clients by offering the exact same thing. That's not really competition. If competition leads to economic growth, growth seems to be driven by subjective preferences. We buy from who we like more, and that's okay. There's another author, a French guy, who wrote a book in 2014. His name is Frédéric Laloux, and he studied human organizations. And he said that the complexity of human organizations are directly correlated with the level of the human's understandings. So in the past, when we were cavemen, there was a very simple organization characterized by authoritarian structures and control through fear. There was one alpha who was the leader of the pack. Laloux color codes these organizations from red, amber, orange, green, and ultimately teal, which is what we're going through now. So that caveman alpha type organization is a red organization. Next is an amber organization, which is very hierarchical. Think the army or the church. They're structured around rigid hierarchies and top-down command. Then we have the orange organizations, which operate on meritocratic principles, emphasizing competition and competence. Your standard issued 50-year-old corporation is like that, because you climb up the corporate ladder based on merit, and employees compete against each other. Then we have green organizations that kind of resemble a family more than anything, because they focus on consensus and stakeholder value, often emphasizing culture and empowerment. It's about the values. It's about the mission. It's about the vision. Ultimately, the newest type of organization that Laloux talks about is the teal organization. And the theory of teal organizations is built on three core concepts: self-management, wholeness, and evolutionary purpose. We buy from who we like more, and that's okay. Economics is a social science, and it's a little weirder than the others because the people who study it are also in it. So when economists make a forecast, governments listen and they make adjustments. That doesn't make it a lesser science, however. All science is kind of weird when you think about it, because you can only explain science by using science, no outside tool. So that makes it more like an ism, scientism. That being said, going back to the Nobel Prize, historically the Nobel Prize is only given to a maximum of 3 people, which is not okay, because true innovation does not happen from like that delicate genius locked up in a lab or something. True innovation is collaborative. And so for this particular project, I bet you there were way more people working on this, because this is important for today's economics. It's important because the way things are looking now, it's centralized planned economy in Western worlds, free markets in otherwise not so democratic regimes, and a global free market of fiscal policies from which businesses get to choose. That is where the true competition lies, and institutions concerned about maintaining the status quo are not very competitive. I think it's hilarious because it's almost like the UAE, the United Arab Emirates, is socialist for business owners because we, as business owners, were being punished through means of changing fiscal policies back in our democratic countries. And so we came here to Dubai to seek asylum. Who's the socialist now? But seriously, there seems to be way more innovation in economics than in any other fields, because there is competition in economics. There is competition among countries who design their fiscal policies in order to provide incentives for big companies to come and for specific companies to come. In AI, however, there is no competition because the big companies keep giving each other money and merging with each other in this infinite human centipede of tech. So we can't choose who we prefer. We can't even choose to not use AI for Google. And the results now suck.